Can you believe Michael Savage going off on a vet with PTSD yesterday? I mean, I'm so sick and tired of it. Well, actually, you've got a clip of it, don't you? Yeah. Okay, here it is.
I am so sick and tired of everyone with their complaints about PTSD, depression. Everyone wants their hand held in a check, a government check. What, are you the only generation that PTSD? The only generation that's depressed? I'm sick of it. I can't take the celebration of weakness and depression. See, I was raised a little differently. I was raised to fight weakness. I was raised to fight pain. I was raised to fight depression, not to give into it, not to cave into it and cry like a little baby in bed. Boo-hoo-hoo. Boo-hoo-hoo. Everyone has depression in their life. Everyone has sickness and sadness and disease and loss of relatives and loss of career. Everyone has depression in their life.
Okay, let's just
but
stop this right here.
But if the whole nation is told boo,
I don't want to get it. I don't want to go beyond fair use. First of all, but secondly, I think you get the point. And there's an absolute limit to what I can handle. This is. There's actually there's an argument to be had here. I mean, there's a lot of conversation, and has been for the past 20 years or so, I guess, about helicopter parenting and every child wins a prize and criticizing basically the suffocation of kids growing up, with over affection and over help and all that kind of thing. And then on the flip side of that, you got that woman who wrote that book, Tiger Mom, a year or two ago, about just, be tough on them and whip them into shape. And then the flip side of that came out, well, yeah, some of these kids are incredibly high achievers and very wounded, but they're high achievers. But does anybody get out of life not wounded? And then, and so it just kind of goes in circles. But to suggest that that somebody who was lied to by George W. Bush and went off and joined the military, a very large, life-changing act, believing that they were doing the right thing. And then they find themselves in a country that doesn't want us, that didn't offend us, that represented no threat to us, killing people that they don't know for reasons that they can't explain, and seeing their friends die so that George W. Bush could get himself reelected. I mean, that's basically the whole thing of Iraq. Back in 1999, George W. Bush told Mickey Herskowitz, his biographer, when he was writing Charge to Keep, Bush's autobiography, the ghostwriter, Mickey Herskowitz, Bush told him that, if he became president, he wasn't going to make the mistake that his daddy made of only having a 100-hour-long war. George Sr. didn't get reelected on the first Gulf War because it didn't run long enough. It didn't run all the way up into the election cycle. He didn't get to be a war president during an election year. And George W. said, I'm not going to make that mistake. My father had all his political capitals, and he blew it. He says, if I have a chance to invade Iraq, if I become president, keep in mind, this is 1999. This is before he even declared his campaign for president. So if I get to be president, I'm going to be a successful war president. We're going to have a real war. And then we'll use that political capital to privatize Social Security, which is what back in 1979, what he had run for, or the 78 election, I guess it was, in Texas. He ran for the House of Representatives unsuccessfully, George W. Lost the race. And what he was running on was privatizing Social Security, which is what in 2005, after the election, he said, I got political capital, now I'm going to use it. From being a war president. So you get these kids who go over there and just their lives are shattered. And they come back to the United States and there's no job, there's no recognition of the sacrifice that they've made. It might not have been in the service of a good cause, but it was a sacrifice. And then they get these right-wing commentators on hard right-wing radio literally making fun of them, ridiculing them. People who said, yes, I will put my life on the line. I'm willing to come back with, missing a leg, missing an eye. I'm willing to die for my country, right or wrong. And they come back to this country wounded and damaged, and some crazy right-winger goes off on how they're pathetic. Really? So, yeah, I think that, it is a useful thing for all of us to say, we would like to rise above adversity. And, we want our kids to be resilient. We want our society and our culture to be resilient. We want ourselves to be resilient. And there's a lot of good ways to build resilience. But ridiculing people is not one of them.